Pay close attention. This isn't something you see every day.
Welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk about the G.I. Joe Classified series Craig McConnell, aka Rock and Roll. Now listen, you guys have all seen this guy already and all his glory and everything, so we already know how the articulation goes, but I do want to take the time to talk about this figure because the last time I had a couple figures that I reviewed on here, which was Falcon and CoverGirl, they weren't so great. But this guy here, hands down, with the good and the bad, like I've always said, I'm not against Hasbro and their classified line. I like the classified line, but like I say, if there's something bad, I'm going to call them out on it. If there's something good, I'm going to say it as well. So, which therefore, with this figure here, in my opinion, I think they have done a fabulous job. There's just a few things that I think could have been done better, but hey, you know what? It's still a great looking figure. So let's talk about Rock and Roll here, okay? So looking at the head sculpt, I mean, that is a great looking head sculpt. I love the fact that they put the wash in the beard and in the hair, not just making it some kind of weird looking, you know, blonde color. The look on his face means, you know, he means business. Outfit, I love the green and the white. I love the fact that he has the, you know, it's soft plastic right here with this chain, not chain, I'm sorry, with the ammo X going across his front and back. I think that's really cool. I like the rolled up sleeves and the tattoos on here. So this tattoo, of course, is of a skull. And then it comes down the bicep and the tricep here. And then, of course, nothing on the elbow. So I don't know if they meant for this to be a sleeve or not be a sleeve, but on the inside of his arm, on the bicep there, he has a tattoo that says Mom on it, which is pretty neat. And then you have a koi fish here on the forearm. So I don't know if this was meant to be a sleeve, that's why they didn't do the elbow, or if it's just meant this is a single tattoo and then this is a tattoo all on its own, which some people have, some people don't. And then on this side here, we have another skull-like tattoo on the bicep and tricep area. And then moving down, we have, it looks like waves or wings. I can't really make it out, but it looks like surfing waves to me. And then you have his skull face here on the back of his hand, which kind of reminds me of the Joker from the Suicide Squad, where he had the laughing face, where he put his hand up on his mouth and it would show the smiling teeth. They did a beautiful job with this guy, I have to say. I mean, hands down. Now, he also comes with a couple alternate hands. So he has a fist, and then he has the devil horns, or the rock and roll type horns, you know, throwing up there with the skull face on the back of the hand. And he comes with his heavy machine gun, which I think is very nice. It's a bipod, so you can actually have him lay down and shoot this bad boy. And then, of course, this is a big gun, so, you know, and you got a big guy who's actually going to be able to carry this. Do I think that Roadblock should have came with his heavy gun? Yes, and I think Roadblock was a tripod, his was, because it was bigger and actually had a handle here and then a handle in the front where he could carry it and fire it from up here, or carry it down here and hold it in the front and fire it that way as well. But I like the way they did this. Very nice. You can see where you have the attachment for the feeder here on the side, and then of course the ammo will come through, the ammo belt will come through. Very nicely done on this heavy machine gun. Next we have the actual feeder box, and this can be used in two different ways, which I'll show off in a second. This is the little, these are the little pegs that actually peg into the actual side of the gun, and then it feeds out, which I'll go over. He comes with a nice little handgun, which if I could get the focus, there we go, nice little handgun here. No port in the front for any, you know, fire effects or anything like that. But very nice, very nice. A little tiny ammo belt. And of course, we all know he has his long ammo belt. His radio. And I think that's really cool. You got the browns and the greens on there. So they did a nice job with that. And that has a peg that plugs in. And then we have his helmet, which is a lot like Roadblock's helmet. It doesn't have the pouch on the back for the cigarettes or, you know, his ID, whatever you want to say. And then it says Hang 10 right here on the side. Because, of course, he is a surfer. So, yeah. Otherwise, cool stuff. Cool stuff. This guy comes with a bunch of stuff. So, moving on, looking at the figure himself. When you want to use this right here, you can plug this in here on the side of the gun, and you can use the smaller feed to feed through. So I would suggest feeding this in, popping that in like that, and then moving it up to the little pegs if I can get this on there. And there you go. Now that's feeding into the gun, of course, and then the belt will feed out this way. Now you can have him laid down on the ground holding it, and he could be shooting it or in the air. It makes no difference on how you want to do it. Or you could pull the feeder off, and then you can actually feed the belt through like so. Let me just set that down there. And on the side of his belt here, you have a peg. And that's what this single peg here is for. And you peg this in like so. Just pop that bad boy in there. Put his gun in his hand. And I think this only goes into one way for his hand because you have the guard there, so it's always going to be in his right hand. And then you can have the feeder feeding from his belt, which is going to go like that. And of course you have his bracer here, which is also ammunition. I mean, this guy's got ammo everywhere. Bend his arm a little bit. You can have him holding it like so, and then he can be firing this out like that, which actually looks pretty good. So you can actually do it like this. If you have a fire effect, it does have a plug in the front. Let's fold these up, and you can pop that bad boy in like so, although that effect doesn't really sit in the front of the barrel of this gun too well because it is too big. Now that I see that, so this actually goes to a smaller gun. But anyway, if you have an effect that fits it, then so be it. And you can actually pull this through a little bit more and make it look like he's feeding it, just like this off the side of his belt. And that's cool. That's really cool. All right, so taking the belt out, or leaving the feeder, taking the gun out, I should say, not the belt. Moving on, you have his walkie-talkie, which can plug in right here into the back. So you can plug that in right there. You can give it a little turn so that way you're not bending the antenna, even though it's soft plastic. And then you have his sidearm. His sidearm, which definitely goes into, yep, right there into the holster. Very nice. This belt will shift when you move him, so you just got to kind of pull it down a little bit. And then you have his helmet. You just take his helmet, pop that bad boy on, and there you go. So if you have any predators or aliens or cobras or whatever you want to fancy, you can use that. And let me see if I can pose him out here real quick for you guys, just for giggles and shits. Yeah, let's pop this bad boy on. See if we can get him to hold it. Got to kind of bend the fingers out a little bit to get him to hold that there. And then if you wanted, you can bend his knees. You know, he has all the same articulation as everybody else, double jointed legs, all that stuff. But to me, that's a pretty good looking pose right there. I mean, I know it's just something quick that I'm throwing out here, just for something to do for the review. But to me, there you go. You got a little something going on there, which actually looks pretty cool. And with that, you can have him, like I said, firing at whatever you want, whoever you have to use as a battle. Stormtroopers, aliens, it doesn't matter. But it would be cool to see Roadblock with Ma Dukes and Rock and Roll here with his heavy machine gun, and both of them side by side, getting into the midst of doing some battle. And that actually looks pretty good. I like that. And you can still feed this through a little bit if you wanted to. Whoop, to tighten that up some. So that actually looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Pretty good, if you ask me. You could put him in a lay down position if you wanted to. If you wanted to have these legs down, you get him in a lay down position. Now, I don't know about having the belt on the side there, but I mean, think about the caliber of this gun and how heavy it is. It's not a sniper, but still, either way, you want to lay this guy down on the ground. You want to give him a nice little stance. I mean, this guy's going to be shooting this gun. Let's tip his head up because that's not a that's not a sight. I'm just trying to get him in a lay down position. I'm probably gonna have to move his gun around a little bit to get him to do so. But anyway, you can get him in a lay down position. Give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can get him in there. Try not to do this on camera since I suck doing this, but give me a second. All right, so it just took me a second to get him to lay down and get everything situated to where I like the way he looks. But you can get him to lay down like this, and you can have, as you can see, you can have him with his helmet on there. He looks really, really good. Laid down there, displayed out, just like if he was hiding in the bush or just on top of a building, whatever the case is with that heavy rifle, with that heavy machine gun, I should say, to take out some enemies or targets, whatever you want to say. This guy is definitely Hasbro knocked it out of the park with this guy. He is definitely a phenomenal character. I'm glad they made Rock and Roll. It's been a minute since they actually have, you know, made a character that just doesn't have issues, man. That just does not have issues. Falcon, you know, he didn't have that much of an issue. He was actually all right, except for, I mean, as far as body. But when it came to his face, forget it, man. That dude was just whatever. And look, I get it. I know what they were trying to accomplish when it came to that figure, but that was then, this is now, and Rock and Roll is definitely a great looking figure. And I'm just kind of botching all this up right now, but he is a great looking figure. And the cool thing about it is you can have this belt feeding through his hand, however you want to do it. It's there as he's standing here looking off to the side, wanting to just, you know, just annihilate somebody. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, man. I mean, they did a good job. I have to honestly say they have done a great job with this figure. How am I going to display him on the shelf? I don't know. Maybe he'll be displayed just like this with the gun pointed out, you know, like Rambo. That's who he reminds me of, Stallone, you know, when Stallone's firing off that heavy machine gun, screaming, "Aah!" I mean, yeah. I mean, that's wild stuff right there. Wild stuff. Let's lift his arm up. Let me see if I can get this back in here without taking up too much time as I'm trying to get this to look a certain way. Bring it around. I don't know. Whichever. You still have him standing here, and yeah, you can pose him however you want. But I think that right there is just good stuff, man. Just good stuff that this guy you're able to do with this guy here. Just to display him with that belt feeding through. It's awesome. It is. It's really, really good. My holster's sliding off the leg. But either way, I just move it back up, push back up. Yeah, Hasbro knocked this one out of the park. They did a great job. I don't have anybody out here to compare this guy to, and I just wanted to do a quick review on him. And of course, we have non-plastic packaging, and yet still my barrel. I know this has, I guess, been an issue for a couple people. My barrel's slightly warped, but it is that soft plastic. So I guess it's going to happen because it's just so damn soft. But I did look into it. They did make his gun as accurate as possible. And while I'm sitting here fussing around with this guy, you can actually take this out, pull this out, and you can actually have him carry this. And now this is soft up top here, so just be careful. But you can actually have him carry his gun or hold it, stand there holding it, ready to go, however you want to do it. But yeah, I mean, that right there is pretty cool. Guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. Out of let me zoom back out a little bit here. Out of a scale between 1 and 10, I give this guy, I give him an 8, to be honest with you. He is a cool looking figure. I do like him, and he's going to be a great addition to my collection as far as putting him with Roadblock and with Stalker. So that's where he's going to go, teamed up with those guys, because that's where he belongs, in my opinion. Did they do a great job with him? Yes, they did. I think they have done a fabulous job. And yes, I didn't go over articulation and stuff like that because we've already seen it 1,000 times. He has his butterfly hinge in the shoulder, double jointed elbows, wrist, legs, everything. He has it just like everybody else, except for it's just better made. The tattoos, all right, not a big deal. They made them the way they made them. As far as some other pet peeves, I really don't have any with this figure. I mean, they did a really good job with them. So I'm really happy with Rock and Roll. So this is my review on the G.I. Joe Classified Series Rock and Roll. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to keep it pretty brief, show off a couple things, show off his accessories, show off the figure. Is he worth picking up? Yes, he is. Rock and Roll is definitely worth picking up. And even if you don't want to use him as Rock and Roll, you want to use him as somebody else, you want to, you know, swap parts and whatnot to customize him, by all means, man, go right on ahead. You go right on ahead and do what you have to do with your figure. He is ultimately your figure at the end of the day. Guys, please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment down below. And as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on anything new that I am putting up. And as always, I'll catch you on the flippity flip.